Good evening everyone. So we are in the fifth tutorial of the managerial economics tutorials. So in last couple of lectures you have learned about demand estimation and demand forecasting. So in your last lecture, that means in the seventh session, you have learned about something called smoothing technique. So the today exercises or the questions in the today's tutorial are based on this smoothing techniques. So before moving to the tutorial, I would like to briefly explain you about this smoothing technique, right? So in last lectures you have learned about demand estimation. So when you are going to estimate the demand, what you have do is based on the past data you have, you forecast the demand, right? For example, let's say we are in the May month, right? So if you have the last 12-month data about the sale of a particular company, you can forecast what will be the demand in May month, right? So if you have the last 12-month data in your hand, so you can forecast what will be the sales in the May month, right? So but in those last 12-month data, there can be some seasonal variations or irregular observations. That means in last 12 months there are some months which have a higher sales, or sometimes there can be a lower sales. For instance, let's say if a company is having some kind of a labor strike is going on, so in that month the sales are getting down, right? So on the other hand, let's say in the year end, or that mean in the December or in the April month, sometimes the sales of a clothing company can be going up, right? So there can be some irregular or seasonal or random variations in the data, right? So so what this smoothing technique we are doing is, so by using this smoothing technique, what we are going to do is we are try to smooth the data using this technique. So then we can reliably forecast based on our past observation. ඒ කියන්නේ සරලවම මම කිව්වොත් එහෙම, දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා time series data පාවිච්චි කරලා ඔයාලට පුළුවන් ඔයාලගේ demand එක forecast කරන්න. එතකොට මේ time series data ගත්තම අපි හිතුවොත් අපි මේ මාසේ sales එක කොච්චරක් වේද කියලා forecast කරනවා නම් පහුගිය මාස 12 results බලලා පහුගිය මාස 12 ගත්තාම මේ මාස 12ෙම sales හැමතිස්සෙම එකම විදියට නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර මාසවල ගොඩක් අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහර මාසවල ගොඩක් වැඩියෙන් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, සමහර මාසවල normal විදියටම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අර අපිට හරියටම එතකොට forecast කරලා කියන්න අමාරුයි මේ මාසේ මොකක් වෙයිද කියන එක. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ තියෙන irregular එහෙම නැත්නම් random විදියේ variation ගත්තම මෙන්න මේ variations තියෙනවා නැති කරගන්න අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් තමයි මේ smoothing technique කියන එක. එතන මෙතන lecture slide එකේ කියලා තියෙනවා smoothing techniques are useful when the time series exhibit a little trend or seasonal variation but great deal of irregular or random variation, and the irregular or random variation in the data is smooth using these technique, and then future values are forecasted based on some average of past observation. So by using this smoothing technique we can avoid those irregular or random variation, or we can smooth those data and reliably forecast what will be the sales or what we are forecasting, right? So in the lecture you have learned two types of smoothing technique. First one is the moving averages, second one is the exponential smoothing, right? So now we are going to the our tutorial. So in the tutorial in the first section it says that the table below presents the quarterly sales in bags for golden tip tea bags at Bogondala Tea Estate PLC, covering the period from January 2023 to December 2024. So the below table is showing the sales data of Bogondala Tea Estate PLC from the 2023 January to December 2024, right? This is your data table. So in the section then they say that assume you are the economist at the BTE PLC. The management has requested that you forecast the demand for the golden tip tea bags for January 2025. Using the data provided, complete the following task. So you are the economist at BTE PLC, and the management has asked you to forecast what will be the demand in 2025 January. So you have the data from January 2023 to 2024 December, and what they are asking is forecast what will be the demand in January 2025. So the first question they are asking is forecast the sale for the January using 3/4 moving average method, and the second question they are asking is forecast the sale for the January 2025 using the 5/4 moving average method, right? So in the lecture you have also discussed something similar to this. So this is the time period, and this is the actual sales, and this is your 3/4 moving average, and this is your 5/4 moving average, right? So for 3/4 moving average, what you are going to do is, that means how this 260 km is, you have to add these three values, that means 200, 220, 230 together, and you have to divide it by 3. So then you can come up with this answer. To get the 5/4 moving average, what you have to do is you have to add together, you have to add previous 5 quarters and divided it by 5. So then you can come up with this answer. So that's how you are going to forecast demand using moving averages, right? So in the question, what they say is they have given us a data table, and they ask to calculate what will be the forecasted sale in January 2025 using 3/4 moving average method and 5/4 moving average method. So first what you have to do is you have to open an Excel. Then you need to go to your Word document and click here. Then you can select the whole table, then copy it and go to your Excel and then paste it, right? So now they are asking to calculate what will be your 3/4 moving average and what will be your 5/4 moving average. So you have to add column. So I just take 3/4 here, and what another thing is, next thing is 5/4, and I will take it here, right? And there is an extra row here, and I will be deleting it. And now we are going to firstly estimate 3/4 moving average. So since to forecast using 3/4 method, you have to be at least 3 quarters, right? So I will be skip here and come to here and say average, right? Say average and select the period that I want to average. Then you can come up with this answer. If you can, it is easy to use average formula, or otherwise you can use sum of these three values and divided it by 3. Then you will come up the same answer like this. So it is easier for use average, because in the moving average it simply what it doing is averaging, right? එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා වගේ දැන් අපි හදන්නේ 3/4 moving average එකනේ. එතකොට මේ 3/4 moving average එක හදන්න අපිට මෙතන quarters තුනක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට මේ quarters තුන තියෙනවා නම් moving average එක කියන්නේ සරලව මේකේ average එක කියන එක. එතකොට ඔයාලට මෙතන සරලව මෙන්න මේ average කියන formula එක use කරලා මේ වෙලාවේ අපිට average එක හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් පුළුවන් මෙන්න මේ item තුනේ එකතුව අරගෙන ඒක තුනෙන් බෙදලා ඔයාලට 3/4 moving average එක හදාගන්නත් පුළුවන්. ලේසිම විදිහ තමයි මේ average කියන formula එක ගහලා යන එක. හරිද? Then you can easily drag it from here, or else you can double click here. You have to go here and then double click. Then the whole formula will go down like this, right? Then we are calculating the 5/4 moving average. So I will come here and then say average, then press tab button on your keyboard, then select the 5 periods above here and then press enter, right? And then double click here, so you can find the 5 quarter moving average. So but in the question they are asking us to forecast the sales in the January month, right? Here we did not forecast January month, so you have to add firstly you have to add January here, right? Now what you have to do is simply copy and paste this formula. Okay, copy and paste this exact formula so you can identify what will be the sales in January month using 3 quarter moving average or the 3 month moving average, right? And for the 5th quarter moving average you have to do the same, that is paste here, right? So you can identify what will be the sales in 5th quarter, what will be the sales in the January 2025 using the 5 quarter moving average, right? I hope everyone can understand what I have done here. So now we have forecast what will be the demand, what will be the sales in the January 2025 using the 3 quarter moving average and 5 quarter moving average, right? So I'm sorry students, so in here it says 24 January, it should be 25th January, right? So it should be 25th January. So you have forecast what will be the sales in January month using 3 quarter moving average and what will be the sales in January month using 5 quarter moving average. So for the moment I will be highlighting this as in yellow color so you can easily identify the area we have forecasted, right? So now we have done with our first 2 questions. So in the second question they are asking is determine which of the 2 moving average method provide a better forecast by calculating and comparing the root mean square error or RMSE. So now we have calculated the what will be the demand using 3 quarter moving average and 5 quarter moving average, right? But the answers are not here same. The forecasted values in here are not same. So the question asking is what will be the most suitable value for January 2025, and you have to calculate something called RMSE or the root mean square error and identify what is the most suitable method or what is which moving average give the more accurate result. For that you have to calculate RMSE. So in your lecture you have learned about this, right? So this is RMSE. This is a slide about RMSE. So basically we use this RMSE or the root mean square error to identify which provide the most accurate value, right? So in this RMSE formula you can see that in here this A represents the actual value, right? This A is the actual value and this F is the forecasted value. So when you are going to calculate RMSE, firstly what you have to do is you have to deduct your forecasted value from your actual value. So firstly we do this, right? So firstly I'm going to calculate what will be the RMSE value for 3rd quarter. So I go here, calculation of RMSE for 3 quarter, right? So now we are going to calculate the RMSE for 1st quarter. So first I have to do is I have to deduct the forecasted value from its actual value. So what I have to do is I have to deduct the forecasted value from its actual value. So in here this is your forecasted value using 3-quarter method and this is your actual sale. So you have to put actual minus forecasted value, then you can double click here, or if it did not work you can drag here till the end, right? So this is your actual figure minuses forecasted value. So in here you can see that there are some minus figures and there are some positive figures. So if we want to identify the gap between actual value and the forecasted value, we have to put these things together. So when we are put these things together, these pluses and minuses will be sum up. කිව්වේ අපි දැන් මේ දෙක අතර ගැප් එක හොයන්න යද්දී මේ ඇක්චුවල් එකෙන් ෆෝකාස්ට් එක අඩු කරාට පස්සේ එනගේ සමහර වෙලාවට ධනාගයක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, සමහර වෙලාවට ඍණාගයක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේ ධනාගයනුයි ඍණාගයනුයි එකට එකතු කරන්න ගත්තට පස්සේ මේවා එකකට කැපිලා යනවානේ. එහෙම නම් අපිට හරියටම ආන්සරයක් ගන්න බෑ. ඒකෙන් හින්දා අපි කරන්නේ, so what we are doing is we are taking the square root of this function, this value. So what I'm doing is select this cell, then 2. So I will be taking the square root of this value. So you can see that all the minus figures are become positive values right now. එතකොට මම මේ ඍණාගයන් ටික ඍණයි ධනයි එකතු කරද්දී එකකට එකක් කැපිලා යන හින්දා ඒක නැති කරන්න අපි මේකේ වර්ගය ගන්නවා. වර්ගය මොකක් ඒතර ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා වර්ගය ගත්තම මොකක් හරි සංඛ්‍යාවක් ඒ සංඛ්‍යාව වර්ගයෙන් වැඩි කරාට පස්සේ ඒක ඍණ එකක් නම් ධන වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඍණ වැඩි කිරීම ඍණ ධන කියලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ. ඒතර අන්න ඒක තමයි අපි මේ කරේ. ඒතර ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ෆෝමියුලා එකට ගිහින් බැලුවොත් එහෙම actual minus forecasted value into its square root, right? So you have to take the square root of every function. This sigma mean the every observation or the every value in the table, right? So we have done that part. So we have done with the upper part, right? So this is your square root that we have found, right? Now what do you have to do is, if we move to the equation, now we have reduce the actual from its forecasted value, and we have take the square of that, and we have do that for every line item in our data set, right? Now what you have to do is you have to get the summation of that. So what you have to do is you can go down here in the square root tab and type sum and select this total area, right? So now we have done with the upper part of this equation. Now what you have to do is you have to divide this by n. So what is this n? This n is the number of differences or number of observation in the sample. So in our case the total observations are 21. So total observations are 21, right? So this is your total, and you have to identify what is your number of observations. To do that you can manually check it from here, or else you can type equal count and then select the area that you want to count, then you can come up with 21, right? So now we have calculated the total upper part of this equation and identify what is the value for n as well, right? So this is the total value of the upper part and this is your n. So first what you have to do is you have to divide this upper part from this n. That means you have to divide this total value from this number of observation, right? So we come up with this answer, and in this equation there is a square root mark. So that means you have to take the square root of the value we have get from this formula. So that means you have to take the square root of this. So to do that you have to type equal, then sqrt, return the square root of a number, then press the tab, then select the number that you want to take the square root, that means this number, then press enter. So this is your RMSE value. This is your RMSE value, right? So this is your RMSE value for 3/4 moving average, right? So in the same way you have to calculate the RMSE for 5/4 moving average. So try to do that by yourself. I hope everyone at least try to calculate that by yourself, RMSE for 5/4 moving average, right? So now I'm going to calculate. So I will take this whole table, whole area here, and paste it from this I cell, right? And now we are calculating the RMSE value for 5 quarter moving average. So here I will delete this table, this part of this table. Now uh, from here onwards we have forecasted the 5 quarter moving average. So what I have to do is I will go here and select the actual figure, then deduct the forecasted value from here. So this is your A minus F figure, and I can double click it here, or if it doesn't work, you can drag till here, right? So this is your A minus F. Then what we do next is we take the square root of this. That means you have to do like this: 38 into 2, 38 into its power, right? Then double click here, so you will get your square root value. Since I have copied the total area from here to here, you can see that now you get the total value of the square root, and you have get your number of observations here, that is 19. So in previous there is a number of observations are 21. So since we are going using now 5 quarter moving average, there are less than there are the number of observation in here is less than the 3 quarter moving average, right? So the number of observations are 90, right? So what you have to do next is you have to divide this total value by its number of observation, then you will come up with this answer. Then you have to take the square root of this value, so you will come up with the RMSE value for 5 quarter moving average, right? So now we have calculated the RMSE value for both 3 quarter moving average and 5 quarter moving average, right? So in here you can see that RMSE value in the 3 quarter moving average is 1034, but in here, that means in the 5th quarter it is 1028, right? 1028. So it is less than the 3 quarter moving average RMSE figure. That means the RMSE figure we calculated for 5 quarter moving average is lesser than the 3 quarter moving average RMSE value, right? කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ 1028 කියන එක මෙන්න මේ 1024ට වඩා කුඩායිනේ. ඒකින් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් මේ 5 quarter moving average එක 3 quarter moving average එකේ එන figure එකට වඩා more reliable. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ figures දෙක ගත්තම මේ 3388යි 3235යි කියන figures දෙක ගත්තම මේ දෙකකින් වැඩිපුරම reliable වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ 3235 කියන figure එක. So if I explain the same thing in English, so now we have calculated the RMSE for 3 quarter, RMSE for 5 quarter moving average, and we can see that 5 quarter moving average RMSE value is lesser than the 3 quarter moving average RMSE value. That means the 5 quarter moving average will give more accurate result than the 3 quarter moving average value. That means in this forecasted sales, 5 quarter moving average will give more accurate results than the 3 quarter moving average results, right? Or in other words, you can say that 5 quarter moving average is marginally better than the 3 quarter moving average. That means 5 quarter moving average is marginally better than the forecasted value using the 3 quarter moving average. So if you go to your slide, you can see that there is an example you have to do, and you have calculated your RMSE value here and RMSE value here, and it says that 5 quarter moving average is forecast is marginally better than the 3 quarter moving average forecast. Therefore we have little more confidence over 206 than 213. So in our case we can we have more assurance toward this 3235 figure than this figure. So that means when we මෙන්න මේ identify කරගත්ත 3 quarter moving average එකයි 5 quarter moving average එකයි කියන දෙක පාවිච්චි කරලා 2025 ජනවාරි sales එක කොච්චරක් වෙයිද කියලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි මේ දෙකේ දැන් RMSE figures දෙක හෙව්වා. ඒ අනුව අපි කියනවා 5 quarter moving average එක ගොඩක් accurate result කියන කියන්නේ compared to the 3 quarter moving average 5 quarter moving average එකේ accuracy එක වැඩි. ඒකින්ද මේ 3235 කියන එක හොඳයි කියලා අපි කියනවා. හරිද? So now if we move to our next question, they are asking forecast the sales for January 2025 using the exponential smoothing with the smoothing constant of 0.3. And in the next question they are asking to forecast the sale for January 2025 using the exponential smoothing with the smoothing constant of 0.6. So in both part D and part E, still they are asking to forecast the sales in January 2025, but here they are asking to use a different method called exponential smoothing, and the smoothing constant they given in each part is different. In the part A they give a smoothing constant of 0.3, and the part D they gave a smoothing constant of 0.6. So before moving into the question, I would like to quickly recap you what you have learned about this exponential smoothing in your lecture. So if we move to your so this is about the exponential smoothing, right? So the slide says that simple moving average places equal weights on all data points, even though more recent observations are more important. Then it says that if recent observations are more accurate and influential than past, accuracy may be stakes. So exponential smoothing techniques avoid this problem. So that means when we are calculating the simple moving average, we gave a equal weight for the each data point. That means for every data point in our data set, we gave a equal weight, right? But it says that but if the recent observations are more accurate and influential than past, accuracy may be stake. එකේ දැන් මේ ළඟම තිබ්බ මාසවල තියෙන ඔබ්සර්වේෂන් ගත්තම ඒ වගේන් ගොඩාක් ලොකු සිග්නිෆිකන්ට් ඉන්ෆ්ලුවෙන්ෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා මේ මාස සේල්ස් එකට. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මේ මාසේ සේල්ස් එක නම් අපි ෆෝකාස් කරන්න යන්නේ මේ මාසේ සේල්ස් එකට ලොකු ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා අප්‍රේල් මාසේ වෙච්ච සේල් එකෙන් සහ මාර්තු මාසේ වෙච්ච සේල් එකෙන්. හැබැයි ගිය අවුරුද්දේ ඔක්තෝබර් නොවැම්බර් වල වෙච්ච සේල්ස් වලින් මේ මාසේ තියෙන සේල්ස් වලට තියෙන ඉම්පැක්ට් එක ගොඩක් අඩුයි. හරිද? ඒ කිව්වේ so if we let's say we are forecasting the demand in May month, so there is a significant impact from or the significant influence from the March and April month toward the May month demand, right? But if we consider about the August or November month in the last year, there is a less impact toward the current year sales or the current month sales, right? But we have a more influence from the March and April month, right? So exponential smoothing technique avoid that problem. So we use this exponential smoothing technique to avoid that issue, right? So the rest of the part I will come to discuss after we have completed our question, right? So for the moment I will go to next slide. So in this slide they gave us the equation to use for equation that we are using in the exponential smoothing. So here if represent the forecasting, T is the period under the consideration, T plus 1 is the next period, AT is your actual value, W is the weight, right? So now we in here, so W into A is actual value into your weight, right? And here 1 and W is your weight, FT is the forecasted value at the period T, right? And there is another special note that you need to remember that says that forecasted value for the period 1 is equal to the average of all the observation, right? So they said that for the first period the forecasted value is the average value of the your all the observation, right? So the forecasted value for the first quarter or the first period is the average value of all the observation, right? So if I move to my Excel sheet, I will be adding my data set from here, select month, sales quantity and total area, and I come here and paste it, right? So now we are going to forecast the sales in January month, January 2025, using the exponential smoothing method and the smoothing constant of 0.3, right? So I will go to the question here and we are going to forecast with the W equals 0.3, right? So in your slide it says that forecast for the first period is the average of all the observation, so that the forecasted value for the first period is the average of all the observation. That means if you want to forecast the value in this 23 January, what you have to do is you have to take the average of these all observations. So what you have to simply do is you can type AVER and that, then you can come up with average, or you can double click it here, or you can press the tab button in your keyboard, then select the area that you want. So I will select this total area and then press enter. So this is your forecasted sales in the 23rd January. So this is your forecasted sales in the 2023 January, right? So that's only about the first period. So what about the rest of the period? So to rest of the period you have to apply this formula to identify the forecasted sales in the next period. What you have to do is you have to apply this formula, right? Try to do that by yourself by pausing the video from here. Try to do that by yourself with your knowledge you get from the tutorial lectures. Okay, now we are going to forecast the value for the 2023 February, right? So for my easiness I will go to my PowerPoint and I split my windows to here, right? Now in the equation what they say is for the next period forecasted value, what you have to do is firstly you have to multiply your actual sales by weight. 80 is your actual value, W is weight. That means you have to multiply your actual figure by its weight. So in this question our weight is 0.3. That means I have to multiply this actual quantity by please remember to put brackets here, right? So I put a bracket and I have to multiply this by 0.3, right? Then in this formula you can see that then there is a plus sign and there is another bracket and 1 minus W. W is our weight, so I will put another bracket here, then 1 minus in our case W is equal to 0.3 and it should be multiplied by FT. FT is the forecasted value at the period T. That means what is the forecasted value at the first period. So our first period is the 2023 January and our forecasted sales in the 2023 January is this much. So what you have to do is you have to multiply this 1 minus W by this forecasted value. So I put a asterisk here and select this FT and then press enter. So you can come up with the forecasted value for the 23rd 2023 February, right? So then you can simply double click from here. So you can come up with the forecasted value for each month. I'm sorry student, I have made a small mistake in here. In here what you have to do is you have to multiply the your weight by your actual value at your base period. So in here I have selected the February month actual results, but you don't have your actual results since we are forecasting. So you can't multiply by the February actual results, right? So what you have to do is instead of M4, what you have to select is this M3. හරිද? ඒක වෙලාවයි මම මෙතන පොඩි වැරද්දක් කරා. මම මෙතන W into AT කියන එක ගත්තම AT කියලා වෙන්නේ actual sales එක previous month එකේ. හරිද? හැබැයි මම මෙතන අරගෙන තිබ්බේ February month එකේ එක. හැබැයි අපි ඇත්තටම February month එකේ එක මේ focus කරන්න යන්නේ. February month එකේ එක අපි focus කරන්න යනවා නම් අපි February month එකේ actual figure එක අපි දැනගෙන ඉන්න විදියක් නැහැ. එතකොට මම මේ M3 M4 ගත්ත එක වැරදි. හරිනම් එන්න ඕනේ M3 කියන එක. then මම මේක enter click කරලා ඉවරලා බලුවොත් එහෙම enter click කරලා ඉවරලා then you can come here and then double click it from here. So the new formula will be added to the all sales, right? So now we have forecasted the sales using 0.3 weight, right? And our forecasted sale for 2025 January is this much, right? So in the question next what they are asking is forecast the sales for the January 2025 using the exponential smoothing with the smoothing constant of W equals 0.6. So now we are going again to forecast. Now here FT that means we are going to forecast, and our W is equal to 0.6, right? Our W is equal to 0.6, right? So as we did in previous, what you have to do is you have to take the average of all of these observations to identify the forecasted value in the base period or the initial period. So I will simply put average and select the average, then press the tab button and select the total area that I want to average. So this is your forecasted value for the first quarter or the first month, or that means in forecasted value in 2023 January, right? So then when we are going to apply this whole formula to identify the forecasted sales in 2023 February. So first what you have to do is put a equal sign. Then first what you have to do is our weight is 0.6. So you have to multiply the actual figure in the last quarter. That means your actual figure is here. You have to equal brackets your actual figure into your weight, that is 0.6 plus bracket 1 minus 0.6 into your forecasted value, that is this 2958, right? Then press enter. So this is your forecasted value using the 0.6 weight, right? Then you can simply double click from here. So the total formula will be pasted in here, and so now we have forecasted the sales for 2025 January using 0.3 weight and 0.6 weight, right? And these are the answers. So is in here also we can't exactly say what has the best result and what has the worst result, right? So to do that also you have to perform the RMSE test. So once you have done your RMSE test, you can identify which weight is better, right? So to do that, what you have to do is, firstly I put my topic in here. So my topic could be calculation of RMSE for W equals 0.3, right? So this is what I'm going to do now. So first, in the formula it says that first you have to deduct the actual values from its forecasted value. So to do that, I will select my actual value here and select my forecasted value. Then you can simply double click it from here, or sometimes if it doesn't work, then you can drag and drop till here, right? So these are your actual minus forecasted value, and in previously I have told you that you have to take a square of this, otherwise these minus figures won't be sum up. So I will take the square of this. So to take the square of this, I will put equal mark here and then put this sign and then press 2. Then I will double click it from here. Then the total value of the square, or the square of the all of these line item will be taken. Then what you have to do is you have to get the total of this square value. So then you can simply press here and get the sum, right? So then what you have to do is you have to identify how many observations are included in here. Simply you can identify it by selecting the area that the observations are there. So you can identify there are 24 observations in here. Otherwise what you have to do is you can come here and type count and then select the area that the data is containing, then press enter. So it also get it also says that there are 24 observations in the model, right? So number of observations are 24, right? So what you have to do next is you have to divide this total value by your number of observations. Then what you have to do is to find your RMSE is you have to take the square root of this value. So you can come up with the RMSE value at 0.3 weight, right? So this is your RMSE value, right, at 0.3. Now we are going to calculate the RMSE value at the weight equals 0.5. Try to do that by yourself. Okay, now we are calculating the RMSE at W equals 0.6, right? W equals 0.6. So calculation of R equals RMSE value when W is equals 0.6, right? So first what we have to do is we have to identify what is the value of actual minus forecasted. So this is your actual value and this is your forecasted value. Then press enter and you have to drag it from here. You can click here and then drag it till the end, and right. So then what you have to do is you have to identify the square of this, right? So then you can come here, then select the value into its power, right? Then double click it, so you can come up with the square of this value. So first what you have to take is you have to identify the total value of this squared figure. So I put the total here, then take the sum of all the details entered here. Then you have to identify the number of observations, right? To identify the number of observation, I'm using the count formula. I have told you another method as well. So count, and I will select the area that I want to be counted, and so I can see that my number of observations are 24, right? So what I have to do next is I have to divide this total value by its number of observation, right? Then I have to take the square of this, so square root of this. So you have to type sqrt, so that will return the square root of a given number. So square root of this number and then press enter, right? So this is your RMSE value at 0.6 level, right? So this is your RMSE value at 0.6 level, right? So now if we move to the question, In the question part F, it asks that calculate and compare the root mean square or the RMSE for the exponential smoothing forecasted from part D and E. So in previously we have done, to identify what is best or what gives the more accurate rate result, you have to identify which method have the least RMSE value. So you can see that in where W is equal 0.3, RMS is 892, but when W is equal to 0.6, you can see that RMSE value is 861, right? So based on that, you can say that using a W equals 0.6 method is better, as it has a lower RMSE value compared to the higher RMSE value at W equals 0.3, right? එතකොට ළමයි අපි එක්ස්පොනෙන්ෂියල් ස්මූතින් පාවිච්චි කරලා අපේ ඩිමාන්ඩ් එක අපි ෆෝකාස් කරා. එහෙම නැත්නම් සේල් එක ෆෝකාස් කරා W equals 0.3 වෙන වෙලාවකයි W equals 0.6 වෙන වෙලාවකයි. ඊට පස්සේ ප්‍රශ්නෙන් අපෙන් අහලා තිබ්බා මෙන්න මේ අපි දැන් දෙකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා මේ ෆෝකාස් කරපු එක ගත්තාම මේ ෆෝකාස්ට් එකෙන් වැඩිපුරම ඇකියුරේට් වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක. එතන මෙන්න මේක හොයන්න නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ RMSE එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕන. එතකොට ඒක පාවිච්චි කරද්දී මුලින්ම ඇක්චුවල් ෆිගර් එකෙන් එයාගේ ෆෝකාස්ටඩ් ෆිගර් එක අයින් කරලා ඉවරලා ඒකේ වර්ගය ගන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ස්ක්වයර් එක ගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ ස්ක්වයර් වල එකතු කරන් ටෝටල් ස්ක්වයර් එකේ එකතුව ටෝටල් එක අරගෙන ඉවර වෙලා ඒක බෙදනවා මෙන්න මේ වෙලාවේ ඇතුලේ තියෙන number of observations ගානේ. එතකොට number of observation කියන්නේ මේ ස්ක්වයර් කොලම් එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන number of observation විතරයි. එතකොට number of observation මේ වෙලාවේ 24ක් තියෙනවා. හරිද? එතකොට ඔයාලා ඊළඟට කරන්න තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ total value එක බෙදනවා number of observation වලින්. එතකොට ඔයාලට මෙන්න මේ විදිහේ value එකක් එනවා. මෙන්න මේ එන value එකේ square root එක ගත්තාම ඔයාලට පුළුවන් RMSE value එක ගන්න. හරිද? එතකොට අපි දැනට 3 quad W equals 0.3 වල RMSE value එක ගත්තා. W equals 0.6 වල RMSE value එක ගත්තා. අපි ඒ අනුව නිගමනයකට ආව මේ RMSE value බලලා 6 quarter moving average එහෙම නැත්නම් 6 quarter RMSE කඩුම කම්පැනි එක තමයි හොඳම කම්පැනි එක වෙන්නේ කියලා. හරිද? කියන්නේ හොඳම forecasting method එක වෙන්නේ කියන එක. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ ප්‍රශ්නෙන් අහනවා, so in the next question they asking is based on the RMSE results compare the accuracy of the exponential smoothing forecast from part F with the moving average forecast from part C. ඒතර මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙන් අහන්න අපි දැන් exponential smoothing පාවිච්චි කරලා forecast කරා. ඒ වගේම moving average පාවිච්චි කරලා sale එක කොච්චරක් වේද කියලා forecast කරා. හරිද? ඒතර මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙන් අහන්නේ මොකක්ද වැඩිපුරම හොඳ වෙන්නේ? ඒ කියන්නේ වැඩිපුරම කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ result compare කරන්න මොකකද ගොඩක් හොඳ accuracy එකක් තියෙන්නේ? exponential smoothing වලද වඩා හොඳ accuracy එකක් තියෙන්නේ? එහෙම නැත්නම් moving average forecast වලද වඩා හොඳ accuracy එකක් තියෙන්නේ කියන එක. එතකොට අපේ Excel sheet එකට ගිහලා බලුවොත් එහෙම අපි මේ වෙලාවේ RMSE value එක හැමතැනකම කැල් කරා. So to identify so in the question they asking to compare the both two methods that we have done so far. So to identify what is the best method or what gave the most accurate results, we can use RMSE results, right? So for everything we have calculated the RMSE. So here we have calculated the RMSE for third quarter. Here we have calculated the RMSE of fifth quarter. Like us, we have calculated the RMSE values, right? So these are the RMSE value. So in here, when we comparing the RMSE values of exponential smoothing with the moving averages, we can see that in the exponential smoothing the RMSE value is less than 900, right? So that is better. But in moving average method, RMSE value is greater than 1000. That means there is a problem. And also you can say that the using the exponential smoothing is better than using the 3/4 of using the moving averages, right? So you can say that using the exponential smoothing is more better than using moving averages. So we have done all the questions in the first question. So we have done the estimation of 3/4 moving average, 5/4 moving average, and also we have determined RMSE for 3/4 moving average and 5/4 moving average. Then we have come to the forecast the sales using exponential smoothing method, and then we have compared the results of RMSE value using of the exponential smoothing methods, and finally we have compared the results of the exponential smoothing method and the moving average forecast method, right? So, and there is another question, that is the second question. So this is almost similar to the question that we have done so far. So, and this is your homework, and that means you can self study this question and try to do this question by yourself by following the instruction that I gave to you. And if you fall any doubt, if you come up with any doubt, you can come and talk to me at any time, or any of our lecturers who are doing this subject to you, if you have any questions. Thank you everyone.